So I did finally find the paper that has the diagram for how to attach that bracket to the compressor, and I did get it figured out correctly, so it's exactly as this diagram shows. Of course, it was in a place that I had already looked, but it was on the back of another piece of paper that was for the transmission, so I didn't see it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up this line from the air conditioner to the condenser. They call it the AC discharge hose. It goes to the compressor condenser hardline. I already had attached that on the end that goes to the condenser. See if I can shed some light on this and show you where it's at. This is the line right here, and the only way that hose is going to reach and line up on the other end is if you have this, basically the hard line from the condenser comes up at about a 45-degree angle, and then this one has to be put on so that it converts it to level, and then on the other end then you can line this guy up. It's not easy. It's one of those things I'm going to have to do with two hands, and put the camera down because I can't set the tripod up in that to get a shot of that, I don't think. And even if I did, my hands would be in the way. But there is a little cap on both of these, and I watched a video on Vintage Air. You do have to remove these. It's not like the lines are made to pierce that as you connect them. So I'm going to get a pair of pliers, and that's how the guy did it. He just gripped the edge of this with pliers and unscrewed it. It is screwed in. So I'm going to do that, and then I will put some lubrication on this O-ring. Insert the O-ring in there, screw it on. That takes a 7/8 inch wrench. Okay, maybe I can get a shot of that. I'm going to try recording it, and if it doesn't work out or I'm in the way too much, I just will delete it from the video that I put together to put on YouTube. So we'll see what we can see. Now there may be some pressure in this compressor, so it may have a little bit of a hiss. There, it's hissing. I don't know if you'll be able to hear that on the video, but there's the cap that was on it. Could take a little bit of mineral oil. By the way, that cap screwed on the outside. It looked like it had threads on the outside. It looked like it was screwed into it, but it was actually screwed on the outside. So you could grab that thing by more than just the very tip of the cap. Hope I'm getting mineral oil all the way around there because I can't see the bottom. It should run around it because it's liquid. Let's see if we can get this in here now. Tighten it up with the 7/8 inch wrench, keeping it away from the header. I still have to tighten these and make them really tight on the other end. They give you torque specs for these, but I don't know how you use a torque wrench in here, as is the case with a lot of things on cars. They tell you to torque it to a certain spec, and there's no way in the world to get the torque wrench in there. So you just gotta kind of use that as a guide. Generally, good and tight is what you're after. Okay. The O-ring is what gives you the seal here, so as long as it's tight enough that it doesn't come out, you're good. Okay, the other one, and I think I'm going to back off the view of the camera a little bit, just to show you kind of what you have to do to route it. In my opinion, the hose is actually too long. Could be shorter because you've got to bend it to get it to line up, and what I found was going to work, I think, is bending it kind of this way. Hope you can see that. So it kind of comes up in a curly Q S shape. And take the other plug off. I don't think this one will hiss because pressure's probably relieved from the other one. No hiss. Let's see if there's a O-ring in here. There is. This one I can actually see all around it to make sure I get a good bead of lubrication on it. Okay, so now we've got to bend that to get it to go in the hole straight. Like if I can get this threaded first and then rotate it to the position I wanted, it might work better, but it's not cooperating with me. I think they could have done a better job of making that hose a bit shorter. Because this one's going to be bigger than 7/8. Probably about an inch. Actually bigger than an inch. Inch and 1/8 is the biggest wrench I have. I may need to resort to a crescent wrench. That should work well. But again, it really could be a little bit shorter of a hose, because it had to be bent some way. See what it shows on the picture here. It shows it coming out and bending that way and just looping back gently. I don't know that it could actually, well, maybe it could work that way. I'm not going to mess with it though, because I don't want to risk damaging the O-ring that's in there by rotating it, and it's out of the way of everything, so I think we're good for that. So that's it for connecting the compressor. And one of the things that I guess is important to consider here is, as I was trying to figure out what to do next, I had to figure out, okay, what's going to be the easiest to maneuver with after I've connected something that's more difficult to maneuver. And so that's why I came up with connecting those lines before I connect the heater hoses and the transmission cooling lines, because those are going to be easier to route. They're much more flexible, much more give in them, much more leeway for alternative paths. There's really not much leeway on these compressor hoses. By the way, when I was tightening that hose that goes to the air conditioning compressor, I used the 1 1/8 inch wrench because it's what I had and it worked, but 1 1/16 probably would have been better.